Welcome back, everybody, to another episode, the finale, if you will, of Trinity Continuum Aether and the peculiar death of the irregular inventor. We once again join our cast of Aethernauts in the wake of the destruction of at least one wing of the Crystal Palace. A Martian attack should have been the headline news, but what also entailed was the death of the eponymous inventor, Dr. Chandler Quigley. The doctor part of his title is dubious. Run through with a blade from behind. Not only that, Quigley's device that he purported could reverse the state of Magog to Gog, or perhaps even Squire, or maybe just baseline human, had been stolen, lifted during the pell-mell of the Martian attack. While one of the Aethernauts was very nearly wrestled from this mortal coil and into the afterlife by the Martians' tendrils and repeated shots of death rays, heat rays, and whatnot, the other Aethernauts did intervene to prevent this from occurring. The characters became convinced that the two leads that they needed to follow up involved Captain Randawa of Her Royal Highness's Planetary Defense Pact, who was acting as one of the bodyguards of Dr. Chandler Quigley, and one Estella Tox, a boyish member of the students of Tesla, who you are certain was on the stage stealing the device for a couple of reasons. One, she was depicted as being there by someone who was capable of etching her in charcoal very, very quickly. The other, the missing cufflink in Quigley's hand, matched that of Estella Tox's shirt. So you have your two leads. You have left the Crystal Palace. You have the 1205 Club to attend at some point later that day, and other leads you can follow up if you see fit. You have your own societies you can check in on, which can basically fall within the usual connections parameters of a story path game. If you don't want to role play it, you can roll it effectively. And we are nearly ready to go. But before we do, let's do our introductions first, because last time I left a lot of this until the end. So let's have each player introduce themselves, if you please, and if you have a website or something like that that you want people to check out, let's say it now, and who you are playing. So let's start with Danielle.
Hi, I'm Danielle Lauzon. You can find me at Impernius on Twitter. I'm also, you can find my website, daniellelauzon.com, and it has all of the stuff that I'm doing and also ways to find me online. I also hang out sometimes in the Onyx Path Discord. I'm playing Eva McGrath, a wealthy investor who is a member of the Esoteric Order of Aeons and a squire. And she is an upper class woman who has a lot of money to spend.
Very nice. And next up, let's speak to Gilbert. Gilbert, who are you playing as, and where can people find you? What are you all about?
My name is Gilbert Ramos, he, him. I am all about helping out with Onyx Path as much as possible on the Twitch channel and whatnot. So you'll find me everywhere here. As far as personal stuff, oh wow. On Twitch, we're under the name Rolling Nomads. We have a Sabbat Chronicle every Friday and a I don't know what it's turned into, but another vampire game on Sunday. It's a nightmare.
Is that the name of the Chronicle?
It was like Kindred Come, and then it turned into just it's bad. They're rescuing a guru right now.
Yeah, that seems foolish.
Yeah, it is. But I also do Scion Godsend, Scion Second Edition, Chronicle story. I'm not entirely sure. I think Chronicle works. And that season 2 picks up on the 21st on Onyx Path. That's who I am. I'll be playing Neil Christie, an intrepid reporter seeking fame, and I think this just might be his big break.
You very nearly found your own death in the
Yeah.
last session. So let's see if we can't repeat that. And how about you, Kim?
All right, I'm Kim Godwin, she, her. You can find me at KimGodwin18 on Twitter and Instagram. My websites are KimberlyGodwin.com. That's my writer resume. And then Studio H&H, which is more graphic intensive. I'm a freelancer with Onyx Path Publishing. And today I'll be playing Squire Brooks Hare. He is an ex-military man, British lieutenant trying to find purpose after military service, and he is a member of the Society for the Opposition of Monsters.
You gain a point of inspiration, Kim, for pronouncing it lieutenant for the purposes of this game.
It hurts my soul, but I work with enough Brits.
And Travis, are you playing a lieutenant?
I am not playing a lieutenant. In fact, I am playing Orrin Clark. Orrin Clark is a thief and a miscreant, and apparently a connoisseur of fine ribald material in the Victorian era. I too am a connoisseur of Victorian porn. No, I'm kidding. But I am Travis Legge. My pronouns are he, they. And when I'm not here, I am elsewhere, running games, writing games. I'm at Travis Legge pretty much everywhere on the internet, except for here on Twitch, where I am Plastic Age Plays.
Excellent. So we have set our table, set our scene, and we are ready to go. I would like to hazard a guess that our gaggle of Aethernauts, upon leaving the Crystal Palace, have made their way to the Crook and Glove, a popular pub about the East End, distant from where things have just fallen, although news is reaching the taproom patrons already of something calamitous occurring at the Crystal Palace. Of course, most of the people here, wharfers, dockers, layabouts, they just think, it's the industrial crowd once again bringing about the newest innovations in industry. They're going to put us from work, whatever next. No wonder it went wrong. Just not that long ago, my brother lost a hand to one of those machines. Not long before that, he lost an arm. It was the same limb each time, so how to figure that one out. But yeah, they aren't buying this idea of another Martian attack. I mean, that happened months ago now. There's not been anything since. Already it seems to be fading from the communal memory of London. Was it everything everyone thought? But the good news about a smoky joint like this, where the ale is nut brown and of dubious source, is no one's really going to be questioning a group of miscreants and outsiders like you. Not to put too fine a point on it, but you do look a bit strange. You are covered in dust and shards of glass right now. This is on the Thames. You could have just stepped off a boat from who knows where, and the average Dutchman may look just like you. So you order your drinks, and as tradition dictates, we start our tale in a tavern.
So I think that our suspect here, the thief, might believe that that device actually does what that snake oil salesman was trying to say it does.
You did see in the descriptions and hear in the descriptions that this Estella Tox, when approaching the stage, was going through some kind of transformation, a bodily one, that made people whisper the word Magog and gasp and recoil. So it's certainly a possibility.
Well, then, if that's the case, she may try using it.
Right. So we have someone who ultimately recognizes that there's an issue, wants to improve, and might accidentally summon a Martian invasion in the process. I guess what I'm suggesting is when we track this person down, maybe we should lead with friendship and olive branches and be very, very gentle in our approach.
I agree.
Because I think we have a kid in trouble,
Yeah.
not some dastardly villain here.
Yeah, I think she probably didn't stick around long enough, especially if she transformed like in the process of stealing it.
Yeah.
So she's probably hiding somewhere. So as much as I want to talk to our dear friend, we probably at the other club we should probably find her first before something bad happens, especially if she's that desperate.
Right. She might go somewhere under a very crowded place and kick that thing off.
Oof. So where do we think she went?
I haven't the foggiest idea.
Well, let's see. She's
Another round?
maybe we'll find an answer at the bottom of the glass. Well,
yes, you can hear the rumbling of barrels underneath you, but surely that's just the taps being changed. No, but sorry, Kim. You could do continue.
Let's see. So she's a student of Tesla. I don't think they might have a lab somewhere nearby. Otherwise, if she's just visiting, it's probably going to be in like one of the many hotels. So going back to lone hotel room, or I don't know, if she's hanging out in a brothel. That might be another place.
Do we have any connections to the students?
Let's see.
Well, this is a good opportunity to look at your respective connections. But even if you don't, you can reach out to a member of your own society who may well have said link.
Let's see. Well,
all of my connections are political, and I'm not sure that she's in the political sphere.
It'd almost be worthwhile to reach out to the blood of Gog for this, because this is their kind of jam. But someone in the society in Som might know somebody that can probably help us calm her down.
I would assume, being an unwinder, I probably don't have too many connections over in Tesla's camp.
Not in a friendly sense,
Right.
But that doesn't mean you don't occasionally send poison pen letters to them. So you probably know where at least a couple of them live.
Is there one that I think, is there anyone nearby that's connected to them that I think would receive me at least as a respected adversary, as opposed to like I'm going to call the authorities because you're on my property type of a situation? Anyone I think I could talk my way into a conversation with?
I was going to say the respected bit could be tricky because we have already established your character is basically a collector of vintage pornography, but you do have in your connections access business leaders well connected. So I think having access to business leaders is quite possible as well. At least one of those is a student of Tesla.
Okay, that's fair. I will try to utilize that unless somebody else had another contact.
Police informant, so someone that hangs out in dark alleys might know something. I could probably slip them some money, and that might work. Otherwise, military commander isn't really going to help me here. An occultist, maybe.
Favorite professor, if that helps with the university aspect.
That probably would help a whole lot, actually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can all pursue different avenues. We will basically quick fire them, and this is how they go.
What is the sneaky criminal organization?
The Caesar Consortium. Well, that's a criminal network, but you do have criminal contacts.
Right. I have criminal organization sneaky is my group contact. I was thinking maybe if I could put like put the word out on the street that if anyone has seen this person, I would be very interested to know where they currently are.
Okay. Well, we'll go to Neil Christie first then, with your favorite professor. So you can by all means name the professor, or I will come up with a character myself. Up to you, Gilbert.
If you want to come up with it, I'm bad at names on the spot.
All right. So Bob Boberson, Professor.
Watch the master at work. Take notes, Gilbert.
I know. I'm sorry.
You'll find a very common name in 19th century England. No. You are able to reach out. We'll say that the party disperses briefly. Says we'll meet back here. Those of you who don't have relevant contacts can just get the drinks in. And but our favorite professor in this case is going to be Professor Arthur Sedgwick.
Arthur Sedgwick.
Actually, a privately funded professor of the Challenger Institute. So has university contacts, no doubt, but also something of an exploratory type. You do believe this individual has a connection to the students, but also the Osviahantes and some of the other societies. This is an Aether user. Even though he may not consider himself an Aethernaut so much as a professor of Aether. And so you're able to call into his private chambers. He lives in a well-appointed flat in Kensington, so you've taken a carriage there. High speed, don't spare the horses, that kind of thing. And he greets you arms wide, pipe thrust in his mouth between his teeth. And, Christy, oh boy, please let me take that pipe out so I can kiss you.
I will return in the favor in kind. How have you been?
Come in, why don't you? The streets are dreadful this time of year. He tweaks his bushy sideburns and pats you on the behind as you cross the threshold, like your old locker room pals.
Have you heard the news, Professor?
The news, what? The Crystal Palace news, you say?
Indeed.
It's a dreadful rum state of affairs, if you ask me. Come, take a seat, have a brandy.
I will absolutely take a seat, have a brandy.
Top hole. Right, you want a pipe as well? I always have a spare one. He gestures down at his crystal top table. There's actually a selection of pipes around a beautiful tobacconary.
I love this man.
Why am I not a player character? That's what you're asking. You could write a whole book about me. Arthur Sedgwick's my name. I just came up with myself. So what brings you to my door? It's been a while since you got involved in that old planetary defensive pact. Stuffy old group, if you ask me.
Loosely connected. You know that I'm more on the streets than they are.
Well, that's the way to be. That's what I say. Although I don't really favor these London streets. You caught me on the hop. That's where you caught me, because I was just about to leap onto a boat, set sail to oceans and rivers. And did you hear what Challenger found down in the Amazon Delta?
I didn't.
Well, neither have I, but I hear he's found something, and that's what I want to see. He can't be taking all the glory. It's always Challenger this, Challenger that.
Indeed.
That's why his name's on the institute. That's what I say. Well, I want my own institute, the Sedgwick Institute, for epiphenomenal research.
I can see it now.
Well, I'm glad you can. You're a man of vision, Christy. That's why I like you. That's why I offer you my pipe and my brandy and my wife if you're not too busy. I can't keep her satisfied. Christy, I'm turning into Rodney Dangerfield now. About 1895. Please take my wife. But what brings you here?
I'm supposed to be asking this man.
What brings you here? Crystal Palace, you say?
Yeah, I don't remember what I'm supposed to be asking him now.
I think.
Well, it's been a pleasure, old chap. I've got to get going.
You're supposed to be trying to find a lead on where Estelle is might be, where a student of Tesla's might have a lab or a commune.
Understood.
I'm away from London 9 months of the year, you understand. It's a long time to be without me. You gotta do something about this woman, Christy. She's insatiable.
Speaking. Oh my God.
Let me top you up.
How do I segue?
Is that a new move?
Speaking of women,
There you go. Speaking of women, oh, how do I say this? Not being
You
creepy?
met a woman, have you, Christy? It's about damn time.
Yes, and I neglected to get her contact information, where she may be lingering.
Very, very well done, Gilbert. Very well good.
Again, try to be as least creepy as possible. I don't think I succeeded.
No, I know that feeling. I know what you're about.
Oh man,
Many a time I've met a fancy lady at a dance hall or other. I flash a bit of ankle, and then my jaw hits the floor. I forget to ask her address, and then she just becomes a dream, a memory, just floating in a wave of brandy and tobacco smoke.
indeed, and I'm set on not having her just become a memory. She was a student of Tesla. Estelle was her name.
Estelle, you say? Estelle.
Was hoping that you could help me get in contact anywhere she might be.
He puffs on his pipe, takes it out, drinks some brandy, puts it back. Estelle, you say? I think I know of an Estelle, but not long of the student of Tesla's, you know. There was a girl, young woman, fine attitude. She had a good mind for this Aether business, if you ask me. Bit headstrong, bit experimental, but I like that. I like that out of any student. But, you know, sometimes you push a boundary, you go a bit too far. A little too much on the risque side, you understand.
Of course.
See, I had heard that this Estelle, I can't remember her family name for the life of me, I'm afraid, Christy. I couldn't tell you. But I heard that this one signed up with those vagabonds, the explorers of the unknown.
Explorers
I think
of the
it's
unknown.
it's like vaulting from, well, the moon to the back of beyond. It's a terrible saying. I'll try and think of a better one. Give me a sec. It's like jumping all the way from good old-fashioned voting for Whigs to becoming a Marxist. You know, there's an arc you should follow before you jump in with those Bolsheviks. I know we're several years too young, but bear with me. And this Estelle, well, she just jumped off the deep end, as I recall. The students pulled her funding and support, so she jumped in bed with those swine. I still imagine she's a good one, though. There's plenty of them. Not all of those explorers of the unknown are dead set on destroying the world and everyone around them for the purposes of greater glory, but enough of them are that you have to wonder about the company. Sorry, you wanted to say something.
So you don't think she may be trouble herself then, just falling under the wrong crowd?
Well, I only met her once or twice, Christy, but when I did, she was perfectly fine, polite, inquisitive, a bit too inquisitive, I think, a bit too keen on taking things to the extreme. That's where I'd put her wrong. And sometimes curiosity, you know what they say? Do you?
Kills the cat. Sorry, I was.
That's what they say. Yes, it slipped my mind for a moment there. Too much brandy. Yeah.
Well, I will.
I've got a hookah in the room next door if you want to hang around for a little while.
I would love to. Absolutely. I don't think I have anything too terribly pressing. What's a few I'll
Just
spend a
aim at
few
a
moments.
Martian invade. Oh, okay, yeah. Well,
Just
it's
spend a
fresh
few moments with
opium.
him and
Cleanest opium. This it'll knock you out for days. But come on, give it a puff. So while Christie is sitting on this valuable information and disappearing on a cloud of sunshine,
Chasing
and
the
diction,
dragon's tail across the.
figured everything out.
the bombardment from Mars begins. But it's all right because Christie is so doped up he completely misses the show. So while you're finding that out, Kim, was there something Brooks was wanting to look into during all of this?
Brooks was going to reach out to probably to his informant to see if there's anything strange going around Estelle.
Okay, so among the good old Metropolitan Police. Well, your informant, of course, with it being a Victorian era caper, would have to be Inspector Aberline because he was the only inspector in London, according to all history and fiction of the time. Ah! Brooks, you've met the only character I can play from this era. No, come, take a seat. Let me tell you about Jack the Ripper. No.
That's for another night.
Yes, you stop off at the old Scotland Yard. The new police building that is being erected for all the largest cases. The archives there are immense now, and that's quite impressive given they've only been really being built for the last 20 years or so. But Scotland Yard is already becoming a repository for those interested in the law and how to keep it. They're even enforcing this new fingerprinting technology. It's quite something. Aberline, though, he's a bit stuck in his ways. He's all mutton chops and mustaches, still wears the old uniform. He's known as a bit of an anachronism now. Doesn't know so much about the Aether. Sadly, he has a theory. He's a bit of conspiracy theorist that there's a society beneath polite society, but you know him through your military service and occasionally helping out with the good old bobbies around London. And so when you call in, he sighs, he takes off his spectacles and says, "Well, here comes trouble. Brooks as I live and breathe."
It's good to see you, Aberline.
What's the business today, then? Do we need to go off into my office, or do you just have a normal old crime to report or witness?
Oh, probably your office would be better.
Oh, pour the brandies and get the pipes.
Oh, no.
Fresh from Cedric's best. He opens the door, sits you down, moves some paperwork off his table. No closer to catching him, you know. Saucy Jack.
Juicy. Yeah.
Think he's going to be haunting me till the day I die. Anyway, that's context for you. How can I help?
So did you hear about what happened at the Crystal Palace yet, or is that still trickling in?
Oh, as I understand, a detachment of London's finest went to secure the scene. Reports have already got back here that there was a Martian scout, whatever that happens to be. But beyond that, all I know is it was an industrial exposition, and it was rudely disrupted by apparently a solitary falling one of these attackers. Now all eyes are cast to the skies, waiting to see if more will follow. I understand Queen Victoria's best have already requisitioned the remains.
Yeah. So there happens to be a thief that stole something from the exhibition that I'm afraid might be connected to the invaders. So I'm trying to find her.
He sits up at this. So you
Hey.
are here to report a crime.
I'm trying to catch the thief before things get out of hand and it becomes out of your jurisdiction.
Hmm.
Unless you
Is
want
this-
the HRF to pop in.
Lieutenant, we go back and I'd like to think we keep an open dialogue. Is there going to be trouble hitting my city?
If I can catch her and take the device from her, then no, it won't be anything more than what happened at Crystal Palace. But I have to find her first before things go bad.
Well, let me take down some notes then. Oh, do you have a name for this thief?
Estelle. She's a member of the Students of Tesla.
Oh, those scientific
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs. I've been reading my dictionary, learning new words. Still can't pronounce them correctly, though. So, do you have a surname? So you did learn her surname. Well, she did introduce herself with a full name, although whether it's true or not, she called herself Estella Tox, which is a strange surname, but...
Yeah, so Estella talks, and then Brooks will give the physical description. What she was wearing when she was not transformed. What she looked like, yeah.
I can send out the word, make sure all the peelers are on the lookout, see if anyone matches her description. We can get word back to you before we get word back to anybody else.
Yeah, I think she's a young woman in trouble right now and has taken the device not knowing what it actually does.
Given the crimes Abeline has investigated before, it's actually a good phrase to use, women in trouble, to make him think of this individual less as a miscreant and more as a potential victim. And he nods sagely. What's a sage nod? Like that. And... Right, I understand. Led astray, perhaps. Well, Lieutenant, I will do my very best. If we do get any word of this Estella Tox anywhere about London, I will ensure you are the first to know. Are you staying at your usual haunts?
Yeah, and another pub.
Thought as much. Well, I'll do my very best.
All right, thank you.
Oh, before you go, and I will of course do as I say, but there was another report, and he looks through some of his paperwork. Yes, only came in about 40 minutes ago. Which, according to your timeline, would be around the time the Crystal Palace attack happened. Well, just after. Of someone riding like the dogs of war were after them. Riding a horse at speed through built-up areas in the direction of the Thames. It wasn't apprehended. But was described as a young man or potentially a young woman. So we'll start looking there. If that sounds like the behavior of a thief that isn't necessarily practiced in the arts of thievery.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, and Travis, how about you? Are you looking into anything?
Yeah, couple things. I have an informant contact among street gangs.
Mhm.
and I have a criminal organization group that I'm connected to. So I really would like to have as much of the underworld as I can influence.
Yeah.
Just on the lookout for this person. I'll give the description, name, and if they can be found, it would be valuable to me to know where they are, and I would make sure that the person was compensated for that knowledge if they get it back to me.
Okay. You stop into a few of the watering holes that your criminal contacts happen to frequent, pubs like the Shepherd's Crook, the Pig and Duck, other such lovely establishments, all scattered throughout the lice-infested East End. But it's also a good it's often good to spread word around those places as long as you're not naming the item that's been stolen, of course. As soon as criminals' ears prick up to the possibility that there's a score in place, well, there is no honor among thieves.
Oh no, this is a girl who is a kid of a friend of mine. Might be running around with some of the wrong people. Might have been involved in something went sideways tonight. Probably scared.
After you pass that word on in the Shepherd's Crook, by the time you are leaving the Pig and Duck, a couple of large figures, one ultra masculine in the bruising, thick bicep, anchor tattoo, stubble, bald head, looks like he's composed 80% of corned beef, and a woman equally large, broad of shoulder, very tall, but oddly contrasted with a thin face, corner you. And she says, "In that alley now. We need to have a word with you
Just
about your target."
Target?
Yeah, this young woman you're looking for.
What about her?
In the alley, and we'll talk.
Well, we can't talk inside the bar?
No. Too many ears belonging to too many people that we don't want hearing.
That's fair. I'll get up and walk out back.
You find yourself sloshing through a mixture of weeks-old rainwater, spillage from whatever someone's thrown out of the upstairs window, and probably worse. But you've probably waded through worse in search of a thrill. This is far enough off the thoroughfare. No light penetrates this part of London. The roofs are too low down and the walls are too close together. It doesn't help that you're blocked by two people who are at least half a foot to a foot taller than you each.
Would I have time between leaving the bar and getting out to place to sort of look them both up and down, see if I can see if either of them is carrying a weapon, see if I can see...
Yeah, definitely. What role would you like to make to do that kind of thing?
I'd like to...
Survival plus cunning?
Yeah.
Or close combat plus cunning?
Let me see. I'd like to go with larceny cunning, relying on my knowledge of pickpocketing, which is specialty, but it's not going to apply here because it's not cross.
Got to pick a pocket or two, boy.
You said cunning, right?
Yes.
I can dig it. That's 8 dice.
As you survey these two lumbering lummoxes.
4 successes.
Oh, well, okay. The lady is definitely packing something. In fact, on 4 successes, you can tell exactly what just from the weight of her coat. There is a heavy cudgel in her overcoat pocket. You can see the handle protruding. You can see the shape quite clearly as well. In fact, on 4 successes, based on the weight, you know the exact make and model of the cudgel, where you can buy a copy, and the fact that she's probably been ripped off.
Does all that make it easier to grab?
Yes, if that's really what you go for. This wasn't an appraisal.
No, I would like to, by the time we like turn around to start talking to one another, I would like to be doing this with her cudgel.
Oh. Well, you didn't let me finish, because in the lumbering man's gate, while he does not appear to be equipped with any weapons, his body is what you can survey from his manner, his mien, if you will, is there's something a tad unnatural to it.
What?
Something of a Magog at play here. The woman looks like she's on her way, but the man looks like he is just on the edge of deviation.
Okay.
There's something, what would the word be? Unappetizing to being too close to him.
Okay.
It does make you feel threatened, even though they're not. Well, they are pushing you into an alley, so I mean that's never a good sign.
Well, in that case, then rather than like flash my ass at this person, I'm going to steal it still, but I'm just going to drop it.
Noisily or quietly?
Quietly, so the
you drop it in the sewage channel. Yeah.
So the one less thing to worry about when the ship goes down.
Well, it's not really moving anywhere. That's why it's still in the street. So the woman continues to speak. Yeah, all right, we're far enough off the thoroughfare now. So why is the real reason you're asking after this Tox girl? Not just that she stole something or that you're looking after her, that she's a daughter of a friend. We know that. Why are you looking for her?
All right. Yeah. It's fair. I believe your buddy over here, sir, I didn't get your name. Yeah, I believe your buddy is probably indicative of that you're kind of aware of what's going on with Aether and what perhaps went down
we're not
earlier.
Stupid.
I wasn't implying you were stupid. I'm worried that the girl stole something thinking it was going to help her out and that it's going to bring about an invasion. That is the reason. That is the truth.
An invasion?
Yeah.
Well, by the French?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
No.
Just wanted to make sure, though, my grandfather was in Napoleonic Wars.
Was he?
No, it would have been a bit too long ago. But anyway. Oh, well, that puts a different spin on things, doesn't it?
I want to help. I want to... Stand down. We're having a conversation. We'll be fine in a minute. I turn back. I say, the reality of the situation is I understand what might have motivated that theft. Okay. And I'm not making any judgment calls on how she got in the position she got into or what she wants to do about it. But what I am saying is I don't think she's got what she thinks she has.
Who are you working for? Exactly.
Well, okay. I mean, let's not. I don't think we should get in the way of our friendship.
I want to make something clear to you.
Sure.
Sir. And what we do, my friend and I, to you in this alley right now really depends on your answer.
That's fair.
Are you one of Jekyll's Explorers of the Unknown?
No. I'm not. I sure hope that's the right answer.
They look at each other.
If you,
No, we didn't think so. You didn't look like one.
no. If you want to know who cuts my checks, Tommy Edison. If you want to know who I'm here working
Oh,
for in this situation,
God, that's almost worse. But luckily, luckily, not in this case. You see, Jekyll, you're not the only person looking for this waif.
that doesn't surprise me.
Jekyll's got a bounty on her head. Sounds like she slipped the leash, and so he's been putting word about in some ears that he wants her back. And word reached us and some of our employers. And so we assumed you were after. Of course, we don't really want her to get back to Dr. Jekyll, because if she's so important, if she's important to him, he will raise the price if someone else gets their hands on her. You see what I mean? So now we understand. You're in the bounty hunting trade as well.
No. But
Oh.
I grew up entirely too poor to let a good business opportunity pass by. So I tell you what, let's combine our efforts. The girl means very little to me in the grand scheme of stopping a Martian invasion.
Right.
Okay? What means something to me is that trinket that she's got her hands on. Okay? So we work together. We find this girl. We sort out what each respective party is looking for out of this arrangement. And then we go our separate ways.
Yeah, we've not been told nothing about a trinket. These things tend to complicate things. GOG, apparatus, all that nonsense. So, yeah, tell you what, that sounds like a deal to me. We find the girl. We take the girl. You can have the trinket. But we work together. We share information.
I would suggest that we find the girl. We bring the girl to a mutually agreed upon location along with the trinket, and then we sort all that out so we can make sure everything's on the up and up and we can all trust one another.
Give him one of the coins.
Thanks.
Lumbering
You're a nice
grunt.
guy. I take it back.
Sticks a thick hand inside his coat and pulls out a Roman coin, which he slams into your hand, pretty much presses into your palm, so there's a nice indentation. It's like you've been hit in the hand by the Phantom. And he gives you a nod and walks off. She says, now you got that coin, you're marked. You're in a deal with us now. So don't you go betraying us. We know who has our coins. We know who they've touched.
Well, that's not creepy. Where are we going to meet?
Oh, we'll know.
What if you find her first?
We won't tell. Oh no, sorry. We'll of course. Let's designate a spot. How about this pub here? The Pig and whatever the hell I said earlier.
Pig and a Poke. Yeah. Well,
yeah. No, let's go for the Shepherd's Crook. That's a much nicer establishment.
Oh yeah, I've been there. The sewage behind it's much higher quality.
Well, that's the one we heard you gabbing away in first.
Oh, fair enough. All right, we'll see you there. Yeah.
Okay, you are left to stew in your open sewer.
Well, I will piss off back to the pub where we're all supposed to meet at, because I don't think there's anything else for me to do, really.
All right, Danielle, this comes to you. Thank you so much for your patience.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Are there any contacts, connections you wish to utilize at this stage,
So
whether it's in her pursuit or anything else?
So I have reporters who are my informant.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't imagine that the information or whatever's been going on at the Crystal Palace hasn't been completely combed over by reporters right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually want to ask about while I feel like everyone is focused on our girl, which is perfectly fine. We are definitely going to deal with that first. But there is this murder that happened. So I'm going to check in with my reporter informant and find out if anybody has looked into that or has any information that we don't already have.
Okay. All right. You stop by the Times offices to speak to your reporter friend, a journalist by the name of Maggie Christie, actually a distant relation of your character, Neil.
All right.
Second cousin, let's say. She knows you well enough that you often either feed her stories or you can sometimes sneak her some of the truth, not all of it. Aether is clandestine, but enough to give the Times the scoop.
Right.
And so whenever she sees you, a smile immediately cuts across her face, and she's rubbing her hands together. She grabs a notepad like any good journalist would, licks the tip of her pencil, and says, "Shall we grab a coffee?"
Of course.
Let me guess, Crystal Palace.
Of course, the Crystal Palace. I assume that it's on the tip of everybody's tongue right now.
Well, some people are saying Martians, and we shouldn't be excited, obviously, but the official story coming out of Her Royal Highnesses is it was some kind of threshing machine exploded due to the heat. But as I say, some people are saying Martians, so
some people may be better in the know than others.
Would you go on the record to that effect?
Well, I don't like to go on the record, but I would tell you that if you're looking in that direction, that you're pointed in the right way.
Would there be anyone that I could question who would be able to irrefutably state that there was a Martian, and that I could corner with some kind of evidence that would prevent their denying it?
Probably.
Well, I know there's always a quid pro quo here, so what are you looking for from me?
Have you heard about the murder that happened there?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the story everyone's ignoring. People are interested in the fact that a wing of the palace just shattered, people got buried alive, and there's been around a dozen deaths. It is a tragedy. And that's going to be what the headline is. It's a dozen people died. There's not going to be anything about man gets stabbed. That's what we're hearing.
Yes.
I've got a name, Quigley. I did some research into him. A couple of my colleagues on the desk. I mean, this is all fresh stuff, so we just had to look through our archive, see if his name's ever popped up before.
Of course.
And it did. I mean, this wasn't a gentleman with a gentleman's reputation. He's appeared in 2 stories in the Times. We haven't yet had a chance to look at the other newspapers' records. First story was from 10 years ago, caught with his trousers down in one of London's finest brothels. I mean, you could probably put half of the royal family in that story, so we're not going to be running with that as a byline.
No.
The other thing for Mr. Quigley is during the Martian attack, which, of course, we sold record papers during this. And so, once again, very few people paid attention to the fact that this story about this man was in our papers. Everything was about where do you go, where do you hide, how do you defend yourself, that kind of thing. But we did run a story about they were called turncoats. Londoners, and this occurred in Paris as well, and all the way on the other side of the Atlantic. There were some of us who decided, let's get in with the invaders while the getting's good. This Quigley was noted as one of them, a real ringleader of that bunch. He was practically soapboxing while those tripods were looming over Big Ben. He was there waving his fist, gesturing up at them, saying, don't you see these? This is our fate. These are the people we've got to follow now. These are our gods, all kinds of rambling nonsense. He was arrested for it, causing, inciting rebellion, I think it was the charge, and disharmony on the streets. Lots of minor infractions. There isn't really a crime for siding with Martians that's being codified into law. So he wasn't kept under lock and key for very long. And the way the story ended for him was it was basically classed as a fit of the vapors, effectively, a hysterical episode that during the attack he lost all control. He had served a small amount of time in Crimea, very short, and so there was connections made to that, the cannon fire. It was all swept under the rug, and that was that. But yeah, by any stretch a rogue, and not
And
that
he had some military service.
brief,
Brief.
but yes, I couldn't actually find the reasons for his discharge, but it's rare enough that a man gets sent back all the way from Crimea to our glorious Isles that it would be for anything honorable. I mean, something in the middle, something not court-martialable, so he wasn't hanged or shot, but nothing minor enough that they would just put him under the whip for a while until he could get back in his red jacket. Maybe he was just incapable.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Is that everything you were looking for, or is there anything else?
No, I think that sheds a lot of light on Mr. Quigley and his actions.
I mean, no one deserves a knife in the back, or however it is he went. But I don't think there's going to be many people mourning his passing.
No, I guess not.
So anyway, who's this person I can corner about this attack?
Do you know a former Lieutenant Brooks Hare?
Oh, another person whose trousers were caught. No. It seems to happen to everyone captain and lower. No. I don't know offhand, but I'll check the archives. You're saying this Lieutenant Hare was at the event as well?
I believe so, and would know without a doubt that it was whether it was Martians or not.
Okay. It would be good to have a name to actually put in the column. And actually, out of character, if I recall, Brooks did take some of the Martian apparatus with him. I think the death ray sort of extension. So that could be handed to the Times if Brooks was feeling like helping the press out. But yeah, as you can imagine, Maggie is very happy with this turn of events, being given a name. It's always a pleasure, Eva. You know where to come, and you'll find your credit topped up.
Of course.
So expect a mail order in the post.
Of course.
Yeah,
A
the
pleasure.
Times does pay you quite well as an informant.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, so you finish your coffees and part ways. So the gathering of Aether comes back together. Now, what we will do, and now that you've each obtained a separate piece of information, obviously the information from this has escalated piece by piece, as if you were speaking to each other each time. We just didn't have to keep going back like that. So you all get together. One assumes, unless you say otherwise, you share everything you've found.
in intricate detail,
Yeah.
Yes.
including
absolutely.
I'm absolutely telling them about this deal I just agreed to.
Oh, okay.
Agreed
and,
to.
and
Good.
And showing off the
Yeah.
Roman coin as well.
Yeah. I will advise none of them to touch it because I don't know if they have any weird tracking on it.
Oh, well,
Mhm.
that sounds safe.
She made it sound like they do. So here's my pitch. If they help us, great. When we find the girl, if we find her first, we find out from her what she wants to do, and if it means she wants to not deal with these people, I run interference while you all get her clear.
Well, they're going to turn her back over to
Jekyll,
the
ultimately.
Jekyll.
Yeah.
There's got to be a reason that she left.
Right, which is why I'm saying if we find her, we handle the apparatus, I will run interference with those people while you get her clear. If they find her and hand her over, I'll run interference. Or if they find her and we meet up, we're going to probably have to take her by force if we want her clear. You know what I mean?
Sounds dangerous.
Well, I could see why Dr. Jekyll might want her and the device, especially if he thinks if it does what he says it does, it's a threat to them.
Right.
Yes.
It's also a potential for great research, but definitely don't want her to fall into their hands, especially if she's pissed them off.
Right. And I mean, the device doesn't work. That's the point, right?
No.
So
I mean,
just-
it does
Will
something.
anyone
just
believe
not
us?
that.
But will he believe us when he say, no, don't use that device, it's going to summon
Oh,
Martians? Will he believe us? That's
I
the
just
question.
say we leave him my boss's card and let those two sort it out. Yeah. If in the event that we have to deal with it, I mean, if nothing else, we point them that I'm more than happy for the unwinders to take the heat for this. They can handle it.
Neil comes staggering in, his head full of dope.
Yo.
Hey. No.
You've had a
You've all
time.
been there. You've all been there.
You're messing up the rotation.
We've
It's
all been
puff,
there.
puff, pass, not puff, 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 puff. Sleep.
Everyone was gone, so I mean,
There was no one to pass.
what was I left to do? I couldn't be rude.
I felt
right,
like
you're
I was
forgiven.
unwinding time.
I can't stay mad at you.
Opportunities.
So at this point, what I would suggest, I mean, we can effectively roll connections to see how well they do and whether you can get this information before the Caesar Consortium basically manage it. Or, and this is going to be a bit of a cheeky one, we do still have momentum. It's a fresh session. We have 4 momentum. If you are happy to spend half of that now, I'm prepared to say that your connections, and when I say your connections, I'm going to say the connections you choose are able to track down the path of Acceleratox before the Caesar Consortium. So the people you've actually got looking into this, as a reminder, you've obviously got the London's finest Metropolitan Police. You have the assorted criminal networks. You have the Caesar Consortium. You don't have the press because they were looking into the Quigley case. And the students of Tesla weren't so much put onto the case as much as dismissed her entirely and decided to get drunk. So do you want the police to have tracked her down, criminals to have tracked her down, or the Caesar Consortium to have tracked her down?
She'll probably be safer with the police for a time.
Or do you want to roll for it and risk failure?
No,
I
I
say
think.
we risk failure.
Yeah, you want to risk failure?
Okay.
That's always fun.
I'm okay
Get
with
more
risk.
momentum
is.
and then like have to scramble.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, they'll turn up, but it just depends on who turns up first.
Right.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right then. So let's roll. In that case, I would ask. Let's see. What are we going to be rolling here? So I think it's really going to be between Kim and Travis,
Mm-hmm.
and effectively you're rolling against each other.
Okay.
Because if Travis wins, the Caesar Consortium win. If Kim wins, the police win.
Well, I also have street gangs out there looking though.
We do, but we're going to essentially roll that into the Caesar Consortium for
okay.
this versus. So Kim, let's look. You're using your police informant's group contact. You'd effectively be rolling, what would it be, your path rating here and an associated skill. So in this case, it's your command. I would say your integrity. Integrity makes sense because it's the police basically taking you at your word as a reliable former army officer. In the case of Orin, you do actually have a slightly better move here, so it's your path rating again, so we're just looking at one, plus larceny, so you do have more dice in play. So let's see who rolls the most successes.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
All right, so I got a 9 and a 10.
All right, that's good.
You can re-roll that 10.
And I got a 4 on that one, so just
All
a
right.
2.
Darn, looks like the cops got him because I only got 2 successes.
Well, I suppose. Well, in that case, you both got 2 successes.
Oh no.
Well, in that case,
Oh, I thought Trinity. Oh no, Trinity's reroll.
It is, yeah,
Yep.
exploding dice. In that case, we have a tie, and that does mean that it's simultaneous. As you have spread out about town, waiting for word, checking in with your contacts occasionally. Have you heard anything? You ask. You eventually, each of you, hear word, and because it's simultaneous, this doesn't go quite to plan. You're not all in one place at one time. I'm going to split the group. Why the hell not?
Oh no.
Ooh.
Yeah. So Neil and Brooks, you're together speaking with the police when an officer runs up to you and says, we found her. She's on a barge on the Thames. Looks like she's been undercover. Witnesses saw her board, carrying something heavy, sent the horse off, ran havoc through the docks. That's how we were able to track her down. Should we be converging on the site, Lieutenant Hare, or are you, is this something you're taking control of? We can only give you 15 minutes before we do have to get involved.
I'm taking control of it.
We'll let Inspector Aberline know. All right, so you don't know at this time, or you've got no immediate way of contacting, unless you have a gift or edge that allows you to do so, the rest of your companions. Meanwhile, Orin and Eva.
Other than being fast,
yeah. Well, Orin and Eva. You likewise. A figure looms out of the shadows. You're just walking through the East End, checking in the pubs occasionally, seeing if they've heard any word, doing your own investigations. And then, yeah, a figure quite literally looms from the shadows behind you, Orin. It's that tall, broad-shouldered lady again. Looks like we found your quarry.
Oh, delightful.
But a deal's a deal, and you're more than entitled to come with us to grab your device. After all, she may need restraining, and we don't want to handle everything by ourselves.
Oh, of course. Yeah, a deal's a deal. So let's head out that way. Where are we heading to?
We're going to Doug's Bank on the river, so not that far from here.
Beautiful. Are we meeting there, or am I following you, or am I accompanying
I've
you?
got a carriage waiting.
Oh, beautiful. Well, then if you don't mind, I'll bid my companion for the evening adieu, and I'll be right there.
Oh,
She examines Eva, cock of the head. Do you want to go with this rather creepy woman and Orin as he's being bundled into a carriage?
yes. And I'm going to attempt a social influence on her
Oh, okay.
because I like tall women.
Especially ones in oversized clothes with very broad shoulders.
Yes.
She is missing her swagger stick right now.
Somebody stole it, threw it in the
Yeah.
trash.
Threw it in the sewage. Okay, go for it. What would you like to roll?
I wish to use my persuasion seduction. Seduction
Oh.
doesn't add to this, but I'm skilled in the seduction. And I'm going to go with presence over manipulation. They're the same, but I think that this is more about establishing myself as a lady that this woman would like to get to know better. I'm not trying
to make her do a double take.
Yes,
effectively, and slow her path.
Right. And to look upon me favorably in a, essentially I'm trying to seduce her and make her, like me more, maybe establish a bond with her.
So I'm applying a complication to this roll. I think it's I love the idea of this skill trick. So you can make a straight roll against a straight single difficulty. However, the complication basically is that she may fall for you and still want to take you with her. So you can be successful, but she's not going to hang around. She'll just grab you by the wrist and say, no, you're coming too.
Okay.
So let's see how you do.
All right. So that gives me 7 dice. Let me roll.
Well, if you don't succeed at this, you don't deserve to succeed.
Wow.
Ooh.
Not fair. Okay, so that's 3, but 2 of them are 10s. So let me
wow.
roll those.
Okay.
I got another 10. Do I keep rolling on that? I think I do.
Yeah. I should have set that difficulty higher, shouldn't I? Plus, you gain 2 enhancements because of your striking edge.
Yes. So, well, if it matters to this.
Well, I mean, it only matters in the sense that you basically dictate exactly what happens now. if you want her to say, you know what, the Caesar Consortium's a waste of money, she throws her Roman coins over her shoulder. Yeah, come here.
So I have 6 successes.
Okay, that's not trivial.
Not trivial.
No.
So I will buy off the complication.
Yes.
I will still essentially I think that Ava just kind of starts lightly dictating to this woman what she should be doing. If it pleases, because these things will please Ava. Right.
The instant I clock what's happening, I just take out the notebook.
No, you're supposed to be running. Orin, this is your excuse. Anyway.
Orin, I'm trying to let you get out of here without her. I was trying to let you get out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but this is your you go on and the Caesar Consortium won't be involved.
So all I'm seeing is like this like ridiculously flirtatious exchange. I pull out the notebook and then she's like,
Orin, don't you have somewhere to be? Orin?
Oh, wait.
The tall lady essentially leans, does the awful bar room trick that a lot of men will apply, leans against the moist wall behind you and
trapping me.
Yes, and but does Does so probably because she's afraid of losing this moment.
Right.
More than she wants you uncomfortable and feeling beholden to her or anything. And she says, you know, I can always knock tonight on the head if you want to go and I mean my colleague Grunt is already seen to it, so if you and I maybe we could I know a nice place. She's not natural at this kind of thing, but you've left her tongue tied tripping over her words. It's quite cute in a 7 foot kind of
blushing prettily, I say, oh, I know just the place.
Okay. So Eva is going to take this lady by the arm.
Yes, lead her down the street to probably a more upscale like wine bar.
Well, I mean, yeah, you do have fame, so I imagine you could get her into the Ritz.
Yes, I'm going.
This will blow her mind.
Yes, I'm going to essentially take her on a night out on the town like she's never experienced before, with fame and personality, and she's going to rub elbows with the rich and famous, and completely forget about anything she was supposed to be doing.
I'm sure that will go well for her when she has to check in with the other members of the consortium come in the morning. But right now, she doesn't care about this. She has stars in her eyes.
Yes.
This is the first time she has been treated, dare I say it, like a woman. Like the woman she's always wanted to be, like the woman she's always wanted to be treated as. And now she didn't expect it to come from someone such as yourself, someone famous, someone wealthy, someone of such extravagant, striking looks. And yet there you are looking at her like she is worth 1 million sovereigns. Okay. All right. Well, you have successfully taken out one member of the Caesar Consortium in a way I had not expected. But that's what skill, tricks, and edges are for.
I punch him in the face. She punches them in the heart.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was going to observe that in 20 years of Aether being spun, I've never seen something so both bizarre and beautiful at the same time. It'll take about 20 seconds to relish that before I run as fast as I can to the dock.
Okay. So we ascertained that this was happening simultaneous, Neil and Brooke. So Orin's going to arrive there a fraction behind everyone else.
Can I make up for that fraction being swift?
Yeah. Okay. In that case, let me set the scene. It's nighttime. The docklands here are cobblestoned and walled. You have to get to Dog's Bank, where the police pointed half of you and where the consortium pointed the other. You have to make your way across a couple of piers, through some warehouses, lots of oys and shakings of fists and so on, as you try to get there at all speed. You can identify the brightly colored barge, and you can already see, as you are approaching from opposite directions of the bank, and you can see each other, but taking your view more so is the crackle of energy that is emerging from this vessel on the water. It's unmistakable. You only saw a brief burst of it in the Crystal Palace, but you've seen energy use like this before. Usually among the pioneers of Aether, individuals like Tesla and Edison, and the real movers and shakers. And it typically means something huge is about to happen. An Aether gate, maybe, or as you correctly surmised, what effectively amounts to a summoning ritual, a beacon, something that tells the Martians, land here. But as I say, in the Crystal Palace, it was a solitary burst before everything went to hell. This is like an all-point signal that's about to emanate. And of course, between your two groups converging on the boat, which rocks in dock, is the lumbering figure of Grunt, who is stepping 1 foot onto the gangplank, turns to see two of you running toward him from one side. Neil and Brooks, you don't know who this is, but if we assume that Oren described the two consortium members, he's pretty unmistakable.
Right, giant wall of meat. Yeah.
Yep. And then he turns to Oren, and you hear his grunt over the crackling of electricity.
So what I would like to try to do while moving at scale 2 speed.
Yes.
Is
You're a horse.
Just lay down and roll him off the edge of the dock. Just like you run right into his knees. He's a big guy. I want to go down for like right at the bottom of the knee and just drop him. Just, you're not going to be part of the scene.
So I have 2 suggestions for getting Neil, because he can't run as fast. So it's either going to be like, I was thinking using pretty damn fast with a bicycle with Neil on it, or I'm going to
like,
back him into the scene. One of those two things.
Not a penny farthing.
Oh, I was thinking penny farthing.
Oh, okay. I mean, the velocipede, the bicycle, does exist at this time, but hell, let's use a penny farthing because that adds drama.
It's beautiful.
How much would a penny farthing? A unicycle?
No, a penny farthing is one of those bicycles that has one very large wheel and one very small one, because it was before the invention of the bicycle chain. So the idea was you had to rotate a very small, very large wheel to turn a small one repeatedly.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Well, you know, we're not all Aether-nauts, are we?
It worked well for its time.
That should be like
purpose.
that's like the commercial, like an ad for penny farthings. Like,
because we're not all Aether.
We're not all Aether. That needs to be worked into the book somewhere in the art, I think.
So
and a speed chart.
Yes. So Brooks, you are using pretty damn fast to get there at speed. Neil, you are pedaling like hell is at your heels on this penny farthing, trying to keep up.
Sweating out everything I had with the professor.
No one has seen the like before. It's like something from the circus, except more disruptive as you're tearing through warehouses and dockers who are frankly appalled to see someone what appears to be out in a chase on a penny farthing. But, you know, to them it's also extravagant and wondrous. Difficult to mock until you've done it. So that means I think that's fair. Neil, you can arrive at the same speed as everyone else, albeit mounted on this ludicrous device. Oren, as you are attempting to tackle Grunt, I'm going to ask for you to make a roll. You are at scale, so I'm going to give you the multiplier factor to your dice in this case. Now, that's probably just as well, because you have absolutely no close combat.
None whatsoever. I was hoping that I might be able to talk you into an athletics dexterity, because really what I'm trying to do is make sure that I'm going as fast as I can, and that I'm very precisely contacting a very specific part of this person's body.
Okay. I will let you do it. There was going to be a cost to that. There still could be. I think there's the very real risk of injury complications from basically barreling into a Magog.
Right. I'm sure I'm not going to walk out of this unscathed. However, I would like to ask if I might be able to split my dice pool.
Oh,
Yeah. How so?
Because what I would like to do whilst I am doing this is I would like to also tie his shoelaces together.
Your complications are rocketing at the same level as the scale.
I bet they are, but I do have a specialization in pickpocketing that I think might apply.
This is going to frustrate Grunt because I imagine he didn't tie his own shoelaces. It's going to
Actually,
be
he
hell for him
didn't.
to
Like I'm doing like a whole day's worth of work for this poor fella. But I would like to rely on my pickpocketing for my fast fingers to help with the athletics because I'm doing a mixed action.
All right.
And then so that would give me, and then I'm moving at scale. So I'd be, you said I'm using multipliers, not enhancement, right?
Yeah. So you can multiply your dexterity by 2 in this case, and then split your pool in 2, I think is fair.
That's fair. So I would roll the, so ultimately it's going to be 5 dice each way, or am I getting more dice for when I tie his shoes together?
That's it.
Right, so
he will be suffering complications effectively for maintaining his footing.
All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't like to have to manage complications for story guide characters, but damn it, I will.
Well, I got 4 successes on the first roll.
Okay, so you do successfully barrel into him.
Send him flying. I got a whopping. Oh, I botched the roll to tie his shoes together.
Well, I think it's only fair that there's a dramatic cost to that.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the momentum.
Okay.
You're welcome for the momentum, folks. As I tie my own wristwatch into the
into his shoelace and tumble into the Thames.
well, that's also like a weird contortion thing because you tackled him and now you're like tying. You're like.
Right.
Leaning over to tie his shoes. It's like, what are you doing?
I'm more than happy to ride
flexible.
along into the Thames with him. That's fine.
Well, so here's the payoff. Firstly, there are injury complications involved in this. However, because you weren't able to pay them off. However, you do have an edge called adrenaline spike that can allow you to ignore an injury complication for the rest of the scene. What that injury complication is, I'm going to give you a choice, but I imagine you will choose. You can either basically have what amounts of dislocated shoulder, which means you are restricted to swinging with one fist, or you can have a lungfuls of Thames water, which is going to keep you in the water for longer.
Can I offer?
Than you'd like to be.
Can I offer a third negotiation?
I mean, if you want to make it worse for you, go ahead.
I think all my fingers should be broken. Should be my injury condition.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I flew too close to the sun.
You're getting 2 injury complications, so you're choosing which one to negate with adrenaline spike.
Right. So, right. I was suggesting that, like, I would.
So you've broken your fingers, but you're going to power through it.
Right. I've broken my fingers, and then in lieu of a dislocated shoulder, if that's all right.
Okay, well, in that case, you still fall into the water with Grunt. You both tumble over. I think it is fair that your wristwatch is basically tied to his shoelaces. Splosh into the water, crack go your fingers, not necessarily in that order. You would let out a scream, except your mouth is full of Thames water. Yeah, and he goes in lieu of a grunt.
That's the sound of victory.
Yes, leaving Brooks and Neil on the dock. You're not sure exactly what's happened, but you're going to have to move fast before this Caesar Consortium member scales back to the surface. Neil, you can dismount. It takes an effort.
Just falling over.
Unfortunately, to dismount from a penny farthing, you do actually need a box. Like
I
you're
have
dismounting.
How many actions does it take to dismount from a penny farthing?
Yeah, I've never seen anybody. I've never
Do
seen.
I just need to knock him over?
I mean,
you could do it if you want. He'll probably fall in the river as well.
Oh no, no.
You can just do it on his own. I would
barrels.
imagine it's not
I
hard.
will immediately.
We are on the
drown.
docks. There's probably like
Yes.
barrels or something that we can push in the way. So
I mean, whilst Laurel and Hardy are pushing each other over on the Thames docks, the Martians.
Well, I have the
We
death
are the
ray.
heroes.
I don't know
We do.
if necessarily sinking the barge is the best option, but it's an option. Other
No,
than that, it's like trying to jump onto the barge and trying to stop it.
I would say, let's see, Neil. Let's be fair. Well, I was about to say, let's be fair. We're going to ask for another role that you're absolutely useless at. Go for an athletics and dexterity to elegantly dismount from a penny farthing.
I'm all for it.
You've got
What a
2
surprise.
dice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what a surprise! I have no athletics.
I
Hey!
would like to take a moment before you tell us the result of that roll to ask the audience if you've not yet backed Aether, why not? Head over to Kickstarter.
Of the 2 dice, I got a 10 and a 1.
Oh,
10 and a 1, and then I'll re-roll a 2. So 1 success.
1 success.
Now, it was a 1 on the initial roll, though, so I'm not. I
mean,
that's
you
a
can
botch,
you can
correct?
spend momentum if you want. It's not a botch, no, because you rolled a 10.
Gotcha.
You can spend a momentum. You do currently have 5 of the damn things.
I think it's a
I'll leave
good
it to the group.
chance. Go for it.
Then what? How
Most of the
much-
time, we would say do it beforehand. You can do it after the roll if you so wish. I think the what will happen if you spend the momentum rather than adding another die. You tell me how you inelegantly dismount from this penny farthing. Effectively, what complication do you suffer by trying to get off from this elevated so-called vehicle?
I recently suffered an injury to my knee by jumping a fence in work. So I think that Neil should also suffer like I have suffered. So
You hate
yeah,
your character.
listen, it hurt a lot. I couldn't walk. I had to buy a cane. So I will have him just stumble, attempt to fall or off elegantly onto one of the barrels, slip, and then just injure his leg.
Fall elegantly and
Yeah,
injure his leg.
Yes, into some barrels. It's like bloody
exactly.
Donkey Kong on these.
Like I got it. Oh shit.
Help us, Lieutenant Harry, you're our only hope.
I
Yes,
think
as
Brooks
Neil-
has to
Yes,
catch
as
me a
Neil
little
pulls
bit.
himself up. Who invented this fucking thing? Tesla, you've gone too far. Okay. Brooks, your companions are falling around you. I mean, who knows what Eva's up to right now, but that bit's taking place off camera. So it's a fine dining experience at the Ritz is what's going on with Eva. Leaving
The peril.
Yeah. Yes, and for your 7th course, Mom and Mom. Brooks, you are a man alone for now. I mean, Neil is still in the game. He's just injured. So, and likewise, Oren is, but is currently submerged.
Well, shit. Now I have to get on the barge. So I guess getting on this barge and trying to stop
Yeah, I'm not going to make you roll to get on the barge
Estelle.
because it would only go wrong. You can run up the gang. Yeah, you slip on the gangplank, hit your head, drown.
Well, it's pretty damn fast. Move across the field unimpeded. So
yeah, I think
up to
pretty
2 range
damn.
bands.
Pretty damn fast works for me. You've already spent an inspiration to activate that, if I recall.
Yes.
You can spend another inspiration if you want because it will get you below deck and basically flipping open the trapdoor down the ladder and boom, you're there if you want.
Okay, let's go for it.
That because it gets you across 2 ranged bands, so I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, in that case, if you are jumping below deck without impediment, that allows you to see. Estelle Tox is in the hull of her barge. Whether it is actually hers, whether she requisitioned it, you don't know. But she is stood there with Quigley's device, trying to operate it. It's a pretty simple machine, but she's no gog at this point. She is flicking switches, pulling the plunger. Each action she's taking is increasing the ozone, making everything more crackly, unpleasant.
Stop. Stop. I think this would be a good time to use command and just get her to stop. Short commands, stop. Seems like a good thing.
All right.
Stop, you're summoning Martians.
It's going to take some doing. She's feeling desperate. You do have the skill trick of top dog here.
Yes.
I mean, it's supposed to it increases the target number of any attempts to intimidate you. But I like to think that it's going to make you a pretty decent commander. So let's go for... I'll let you use, as you're explaining, if you're saying stop, it will summon Martians. You can use manipulation instead of presence.
Okay.
Or you can use composure because you're trying not to think, oh, hell.
I don't want her to panic and drop it.
Yeah,
so...
but command and composure seems like a good mix.
Okay.
Let's see how this goes. It's not a simple difficulty because she is on the edge.
All right, so 10, 2 9s, 3 5s, and a 2. So we rolled a 10. And I got a 4 on that one.
Okay.
Still got 3 successes.
Yeah, 3 successes is still a good number. It means she stops what she's doing, though she doesn't stop the machine. She looks up at you. You can see now in the glow of this green energy that she is going through some physical transformation. It's very clear to you now. You've seen and heard of magogs who opt for the path of power and take the cost that goes with it without truly realizing the long-term effects. And whether she was led down this path, whether she chose it herself, you can't say in this instance, but the look on her face is one of horror, dismay, desperation. She is doing this because she feels she has no choice to do it. And while she stops what she's doing, she's looking at you with confusion. She doesn't understand what you're saying. It summons Martians. She says nothing. She just looks at you with wide eyes that narrow. Are you trying to trick her? You have stopped her in this moment. Neil, in this time, you could have clambered down the steps. You can see that Estella she's stopped for now. You can see the device is running. What are you doing?
So,
throw to the tons.
quick question. If she needs to still fiddle with it, she's stopped right now, but she still need to flip a few levers, turn a few knobs to finish the process.
It's difficult to say. This may already be sending the signal. It made more of a crack, more of a definite explosion when it was used in the Crystal Palace, but it doesn't mean it's not doing something now. It's difficult to say.
The safer bet then, I think, is to use Plot Twist's second ability. I'm going to use the gift Plot Twist, spend an inspiration to impose a complication equal to the character's intuitive facet onto a puzzle, making it more difficult for others to solve, or gain the character's reflective facet enhancement to solve the puzzle themselves.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Going to see if I can... I'm going to spend an inspiration and see if I can stop this.
Okay, so what, are you going to add it as an enhancement to solve the puzzle then?
Correct.
Okay, so that means you're gaining your reflective 1. That's fine. You've got a lot of points in enigmas to go with it. So let's go for enigmas. I think
Probably cunning.
Yeah, cunning makes sense. Enigmas and cunning plus your reflective facets. That's plenty of dice. You may be able to figure it out.
Well, the reflective facet is an enhancement, right?
That's true. That's true. Sorry. Yes, it's not an additional die. My apologies.
That's okay.
So getting so caught up.
I'm going to school you on the mechanics.
Yeah, you should. Someone should.
Using
I've been
the momentum
running
for this
off.
would also be helpful too for if you need the additional dice.
Gotcha. Currently rolling 7 dice.
Well, you've got 4 momentum, so
You can always
now's
spend them
Burn it all.
now's a good
after the
time
fact.
to use.
Burn
You
it all.
can.
Yeah,
Stopping
you
the
can
invasion
spend
support.
momentum after the roll.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just say
Um,
burn it all. Like we know, you need those dice. Burn that momentum. This is the
Understood.
roll.
So
Danielle, they've lost control.
rolling 4 more dice then, correct?
All right, go for it.
We have 6 momentum because of the botch
Of my bot?
earlier.
Oh yes, that's true. So okay, well you keep 2, keep 2
Yeah,
by.
we'll
You
keep
never
2.
know.
Successes in Trinity. I'm sorry.
8s and above,
8 above. Okay.
and 10s explode.
That's 3 successes on with just material.
Okay.
With the reflective facet, it adds a success, correct?
Yeah. Mhm.
Then that'll be 4.
Well, so yeah, the enhancement's going to give you something, and at a very basic description level, it's effectively a success. What it actually does, I'm going to say, not only are you able to deduce with that many successes, I'm going to give you the enhancement that not only do you know how to switch this thing off, but you also can figure out how it's doing what it's doing Aether-wise. That could actually set you on the path to becoming a GOG yourself, in that this is the first time you have not only seen apparatus working up close, but also it's actually making sense in your head. This device, it technologically, it actually makes sense. It shouldn't, but to you right now, basking in its green glow, my goodness, the GOGs are right. Doesn't mean you're suddenly in favor of the Martian invasion, I should hasten to add. But
let it keep going.
Yeah, what else might I learn? Let me get my penny farthing.
His signature device is a penny farthing.
Yeah,
my go-to now.
The faster he pedals it, the faster time winds back.
Oh yes.
So Neil, all of that happens, of course, as effectively it's a reflexive. You're studying it, you're getting it, you're looking. It's boom, you've worked it out. So, are you going to charge for the device and try and switch it off while she is distracted? Are you going to
absolutely would love to do that.
Okay, all right. So you are risking it. So once again, we defer to your piss poor dice pools when it comes to physical action. I'm glad you used all those momentum earlier.
Yeah.
There's still 2 more.
Well, if I can use small tactics unit and give him like 2 enhancement to his combat maneuver to the team.
Oh.
Kind of like the hand gestures.
Yeah.
Just like go.
Yeah. Essentially, you basically distract her. So you carry on talking, moving this way while he moves that way. It's much the same as Eva and Orin did earlier.
Yeah.
But in a combat situation.
And way smoother.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
Put your notebook away.
So yes, Brooks, so you can use the edge small tactics units to add 2 enhancements to a combat maneuver. We'll call this a combat maneuver for the sake of dramatic license. So Neil, it doesn't give you additional dice, but it is potentially going to give you additional successes.
Gotcha.
If you can succeed on what is for you, it is only a dexterity roll. So that's 2 dice. You've got your momentum, those 2 momentum remaining. You can spend them if you want.
I feel like I should save the momentum for Brooks, because I feel like I'm
gonna fail.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna fail.
Brooks is the last defense.
Failure.
Is this to get the device, or is this to affect?
This is to switch it off, to basically run for it. He's already worked out exactly how it works due to the enhancement earlier. So
I would just spend the momentum because you want to get the device, because I like tackling her.
I would use 1 momentum.
Gotcha.
I would
dice pool of 3
for a dice pool of 3 to try to guarantee yourself one success.
Especially as you've got 2 enhancements
if I may
embedded.
intervene from the deep on my
I've not
associate's
forgotten
behalf. No, just on my associate's behalf, I would like to pose an argument that enigmas should be the skill he's rolling right now.
Would you now?
Yeah.
Well, he's not rolling any skill, right?
No, that's
right now
true.
he's not using a skill, right? He should be.
He doesn't
I
have
think,
any.
I think
It's like a speed Rubik's Cube, I think.
I think
is what
his
he's thinking.
ability
Speed Rubik's Cube.
in enigmas is really ultimately he is solving a puzzle, right?
He's considering
let him
it.
lean on that enigmas.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm considering how you test me, Travis.
You vex me.
For the last time.
It is a speed puzzle at this point, you know.
It's like tossing Rubik's cubes
fine.
back and forth. You know.
All right. Enigmas plus dexterity, and if you want to use those momentum, that's going to bump the dice pool up to 7 again.
I've driven Matthew to drink. I don't know what he's drinking, but I've driven him to it.
Probably
Cranberry
juice.
juice.
Aether fluid.
And so I don't add the small tactics, small unit
No.
tactics.
No, they become successes after the fact.
Then am I comfortable with rolling?
If you succeed.
Yeah, I'm rolling 5 dice. I should be all right, right, guys?
You should be
Right?
fine.
Yeah.
Spend at least one of those momentum we have them using.
Understood. Is that okay
6
with everybody?
dice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Understood. 6 dice then.
6 dice.
Oh, that's awesome. That'll be 3 8s. That's three successes material.
So yeah, 5 successes in total then
Yes.
with your enhancement.
See, look at that.
I mean, I could be generous
useful.
here and say that because you've already worked out how to switch it off, you've probably got additional enhancements on top of that. I don't think then that there is any impediment to you rushing for this thing, knowing how it works. You are able to not only turn this thing off, but in the exact right order. You're a bomb disposal expert at this time, and you've seen this thing in action. You know to cut the blue wire before the red, and the energy subdues. Estella lets out an anguished howl. Orin, you pull yourself up from the depths. You hear a scream. The charge of electricity has disappeared. Your hand is hurting, but you can push through it.
I will use my adrenaline spike and climb onto the barge. If I
As
have
you
to
try
swim
and
over to the
climb up,
barge, it's fine. I'll use my scale.
Orin, could I ask for you to make an athletics and dexterity roll, please?
Sure, and that is not currently impeded because of my broken fingers.
Exactly. Your adrenaline spike is allowing you to ignore your injury complication
Woohoo!
for the rest of the scene. You can't use Swift, however, it's not a foot race.
I thought it was any time you're getting from one place to another, it applied.
I think it's any sort of foot race. I mean,
Yeah.
it could be swimming, technically, but
Well, it's scale, which is
yeah.
only applies for.
Yeah, attempting to. Oh, I guess it does say foot race. So 3.
3 successes. Okay, in that case, as a thick, meaty hand reaches up from the water and grabs for your ankle with a woo, as the brute in the water tries to drag you back down, you are able to slip free.
Give him one of
You
these.
with your broken hand. I mean, he rolled 2 successes, so yes, you rolled more. So yeah, he grabs at you, but possibly takes your shoe off,
Oh man!
slides off your foot. How's that for a complication?
I'll
But you
kick
do,
the other one at him. I'm not above
With the
attacking.
shoes.
I
today.
stole them anyway. They're not even mine.
Not even my color.
And so you climb up onto the barge, smelling of fetid water as usual.
Right. Yeah. Just sort of, splash myself off, wring my hair
Yeah.
out, maybe. Yeah.
All right, as we close in on the denouement of our session, you are able to flop down into the hull with the rest of your compadres. The energy has diffused. The three of you can basically play almost safari wardens, trying to keep this Magog that looks very, very close to flipping out and sinking this barge, if not ripping you in pieces. But I think at this point it makes sense to handle the situation narratively rather than jumping into a combat. Before that can happen, let's see how dinner at the Ritz is going. Eva.
Yes. Yes, of course.
I am having a lovely evening, Ms. McGrath, but I really must get to my friend at the Thames. I just saw the time. I need to make sure that he's all right. He doesn't always look after himself. I have to do it up his shoelaces.
Oh, that's how unfortunate. I was hoping we could spend more time together.
She considers the 6 successes you rolled earlier, or whatever. Whatever monstrous, offensive number of successes you roll. I suppose I could stay for dessert and coffee, but that will be it.
Perfect. I wouldn't dare take up more of your time.
And did you say you work for one of these groups of ours?
Oh, I spend time with the Esoteric Order of Aeons, but
oh, really?
yes.
What does esoteric mean? I've always wondered.
It's strange and different.
It is. That's why I'm asking.
No, that's what it means.
See if you offend her by roll. No. I think it is fair to say that you have charmed the boots off of this consortium member to the point that she's probably going to be enlisting with the Esoteric Order, just to get to know you a little better.
Perfect.
What does and in fact, as you come to know Mabel, you realize that although she has shivved her fair share of enemies and robbed a few banks, pulled some heists of the year, that sort of thing, she has a warm heart. It's just not many people take the time to get to know her. It's easy to judge someone based on their appearances and the fact that they inject Aether directly into their vein.
It is easy to judge people.
Yeah. So as dinner draws for close and you have to wonder how your companions are getting on, I'm sure they're doing marvelously. I'm sure there was no
no need for me.
No.
And the social character at all.
No, that's why they're having to calm the lion down by just shouting.
Yeah.
Establishing dominance.
Yes. Put the device down. Put the device. Lay down on the ground. Put the device down.
I do have a plan to cope with it. I don't know if it's a good one, but I have a plan.
Oh, no.
The big question I have for you, Danielle, as Eva, is: do you think this is going to be the last time you see Mabel? Because you think it's very important to her that she sees you again.
Yeah, I think I think that this is the beginning of a very beautiful friendship, at the very least.
Bam! There's another connection. Contact. Keep that in mind when you put a point in your path.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, she's certainly smitten with Eva McGrath, but who wouldn't be, really, after a dinner at the Ritz? And so we get back to the Thames, and for our narrative conclusion, Estella is bemoaning the state of her. I need to change what has become of me. I can't live like this anymore, and I don't know how. I don't know how to turn things back. Those unwinders, they have it so easy. They can just turn back hands on a clock, but it's too late for me after everything I've done.
I don't know that it's too late.
Done.
I'll say I don't know that it's too late, and I would like to spend a point of inspiration for contain the calamity to remove the terrorized, intimidated, or taunted atmosphere from all persons in the scene. And
Good use of a gift.
And I'll say I'm an unwinder, and if you can be helped, we'll help you. But right now, you need to get out of here because bad people are looking for you.
Where do Neil and Brooks stand on this? You probably have your views of Edison's unwinders.
Well, I am concerned about the device being in their hands. I'm also not sure I really want her to get poked and prodded by the unwinders. I think that the SOM would have a better method of hiding her, as well as getting her to people that could probably help her.
But for now, is the plan to just basically tell her to get out of London?
I can tell her where to go to run into the blood of Gog.
I mean, listen, we can all fight over who gets to help later.
Just get her out of here right now. Yeah.
What about you, Neil?
I think Neil is fighting his instincts to get the full scope of the story and trying to have some more empathy than usual, and just leaving it to the others.
I mean, yeah, there's that feeling. Never mind her. You are the one standing right next to this marvelous device.
Right. And I will say, because I am a fan of saying silly things, the real story is not her. It's there in your hands. You hang on to that story.
Don't trust me.
I trust him. You trust him? He stopped the Martian invasion. He's trustworthy.
Just eyeballing this machine a little bit too lustfully.
Would probably love to take that apart and figure out how they stop the invasion. So go reverse engineer it, I guess, and hope for the best.
Yes, I'll just do that. Are you two good with her? I can take care of this end.
Yeah.
Excellent. Then it's been a pleasure. Where is my penny father?
It's definitely not on the boat.
And so Neil.
Neil, you can't let him go with that type of technology.
How will we catch up? I mean, it's dangerous enough using the damn thing, putting it all the way on top of a penny farthing and cycling through London up with it. Now you're an even better beacon to the Martians. They can actually see you on top of one of those things. Riding above the roofs of buildings. So I would say, by way of epilogue, that with Neil taking the device for good or ill, for the time being, research, but we know how research can corrupt even the finest and most virtuous of minds in a game like this. And Brooks and Oren persuade the blighted Estella Tox to get out of London to a safe house on the outskirts into the suburbs before coming to their conclusion as to her ultimate fate, which would be better with a society for the opposition of monsters, with the unwinders, or maybe she might actually find a cause in the blood of Gog and remain content with the state she is in. And Eva receives word, of course, via telegram that everything went perfectly to plan, as along with the telegram arrives a beautiful bunch of flowers from your dearest admirer. I appear to have lost my friend, says a message on it, and so I'm keen to make a new one. Signed, Mabel.
Oh,
So Eva does have an admirer. We will conclude our session of Aether, because we have ran a long time now. And I should say that this adventure is likely to see some form of publication. And with the plan being as it is, it's unlikely that you, the viewers, will have seen absolutely everything that will be packed into an adventure such as this. So if you want to play Aether and you want to play through the what was initially called the unusual death of the something or other, the peculiar death
of the irregular
of the
inventor.
irregular inventor.
That's my next pitch document. The
Yeah.
unusual death of something or other.
It's
Tasty bit.
Yes, it probably won't play out exactly like this. In fact, I can almost guarantee it won't, because I won't be running it, and these fools won't be playing.
What do you mean by that?
But
There's no Dio impromptu battle this time, you know?
oh yes, funk fusion. But I would like to say that Aether supports many a different story. I know this is the end of the session, so you may be switching off at this time, but Aether supports stories both serious and silly. It supports stories from journeys to the center of the earth, to journeys to Mars, to journeys to inner space and existential threats, Martian invasions, bodily mutations, warping reality, unwinding time, even things somewhat Lovecraftian, not to mention Dickensian, and Gothic, everywhere in between. Aether is a broad game with a lot of very strong subject matter dotted throughout it that binds together to make this wonderful addition to the Trinity Continuum. I'm very proud of the authors who have contributed to it, because they did sterling work, and I am blessed to be joined by more than a couple of them here. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. My name is Matthew Dawkins, and I will allow everyone else to sign off once again with their names and where you can find them, should you be so inclined. So playing the role of Neil Christie, we had Gilbert Ramos. Where can they find you, Gilbert?
I am Gilbert Ramos, see him. You can find me over on Twitter. Well, basically everything under the name @Ramos the Nomad. That's TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, all the things. Same one name. As I said before, starting season 2 of our Scion 2nd edition game on the 21st of August. Scion Godsaid returns with a Titan in tow. So that'll be interesting to see the dynamic shift between all these different scions. In addition to that, of course, we have our own Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Rolling Nomads, where we play a lot of Vampire, closing on our wild Vampire Chronicle like Kindred Come fairly soon, where we'll be beginning a D&D campaign taking up that time slot. Best way to keep up to date with all that streaming stuff is to follow Rolling Nomads on Twitch @_Rolling Nomads. And that's all I got.
Well, thank you very much for playing. It was a great pleasure. And in the role of Eva McGrath was Danielle Lauzon. Danielle, where can they find you?
They can find me at the Ritz.
Enjoying a 12-course meal.
Enjoying a 12-course meal. My website is daniellelauzon.com. It has my writing resume and links to other places you can find me on social media. You can also find me often at the Onyx Path Discord. I like to lurk in there, read people's comments. I don't always comment or respond, but I am lurking.
That's ominous. And
from the Ritz.
that's better. Add an air of civility to your look. But truly lurking in the alleys of the East End, in the role of Oren Clark, was Travis Legge. Travis, where can they find you?
You can find me anywhere online at Travis Legge, other than Twitch, where I'm either here running games or over at Plastic Age Plays. And I just want to take this moment to remind, first of all, to thank my fellow players, and Matthew, thank you all so much, and to remind everyone who's watching this to please make sure you're up to date on your vaccinations, wash your hands, wear a mask, take care of yourselves and each other.
Very good. Good public service announcement there from a character who's just been drinking Thames water.
He knows. He knows.
It's a good time.
And last but certainly by no means least, playing Lieutenant Brooks Hare, we had Kim Godwin. Kim, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at KimGodwin18. My writer's resume is at KimberlyGodwin.com, and my other more graphic intensive website is StudioH&H.com.
Thank you very much. And so, well, some questions will go unanswered. Why did Randhawa kill Dr. Quigley? We will never know in this session, but play this yourself and maybe you'll come to your own conclusions. You can find me at MatthewDawkins.com, where you can, of course, ask, or I will be on the Onyx Path Discord or on Twitter at DawkinsMP. And with that, Travis, please sign us off.
See you later.